Everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Downton Abbey, the final season, episode 7. Meredith, Alonso, Ben is traveling, unfortunately. Yes, Mary's husband died in a car accident. Why is this not getting through to people that this might be an issue?
Just a smidge, just a little bit of one. I mean, she has every right to act the way she has.
Yes.
But
for once, Mary is not, like stretching it.
But I just, the fact that she went, I kudos, Mary. You
sure.
gave it a shot, but
Yes.
I guess that's what you get.
Everybody just sort of is so blithe about it until someone actually dies. They're like, oh yeah, this might bring up some issues, And there is that whole weird moment, and she does address it later where she goes, when I found out that it wasn't, him, that I was relieved. But the show's kind of that way too. It's like, who died? Anybody major? Oh no, that guy? No, we're good then.
But I mean, obviously we're addressing the huge elephant in the room right now with the death of Charlie Rose right away. But here's the thing, though. The fact that Mary said that she was relieved that it wasn't Talbot at first shows that she cares. She loves the man. She just straight up admitted it, if not to herself, at least out loud.
Sure.
And, to see her say, no, I can't be involved with you, this isn't going to work out, I get it. It's stretching the drama. But thank God for Tom. I love that Tom coming in and be like, you are doing this wrong. This is not how you should be. I love Tom as the voice of reason.
He's totally the voice of reason, you're absolutely. He's always the guy. He's the cool head and the big picture and all that stuff. He's great with all that.
And don't you want to see Tom and the new editor? Like,
that would not be bad, It would be sort of, kind of a lateral move from firebrand school teacher in terms of, progressive woman. I think I could see them.
Yeah, because in my post-Downton Abbey show world, we have Lady Edith and her paper, and now we can still get Tom involved in the show. And I think it'd be absolutely fantastic.
It'd be like the Lou Grant spinoff for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. It'd
Yes,
just be like Lady Edith and the bustling world of Fleet Street.
I would love it.
Oh, I'm in. So yeah, what else? Well, okay. You do not want to get anything past the Countess.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I will say, that was such a good move on her part that she's like, I recognize that I'm angry and I recognize that this is just going to blow up in everyone's faces if I stay around. So she chose to remove herself from the situation for a bit. But the present at the end of bringing a new dog into the house.
That was great.
That was her, I'm sorry. That was her apology.
No, that was lovely. Yeah. But what I was talking about was her visit with Lord Merton's new daughter-in-law to be.
Oh gosh,
Yeah, exactly. Let's cut the crap, honey. What are we talking about here?
But where does that leave Lady Crawley? I mean,
Mrs. Crawley.
Or Mrs. Crawley. I mean, does that make her want to be with him, or is she just ultimately like, I don't even want to be a part of this because I am my own independent woman. I don't need any of this.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, she doesn't give a shit if she's going to inherit anything from these people, house or money or whatever. On the other hand, I could see where, all right, fine, assuming that I'm okay with being this guy's caretaker and that's what my role in this is going to be, and that the second he dies, you guys are all going to get rid of me. Even if that's okay, walking into that hornet's nest where those people are all right with that sort of thing, what other shenanigans are going to be happening?
And I feel like her feelings for him are just not there anymore, so there's no need. I feel like she's created a better relationship with the doctor now.
Sure, yes.
So the doctor.
The doctor, whose name we can't remember.
I think, I just feel like for Mrs. Crawley, she has, I think that storyline has just kind of ended and it seems superfluous at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And because she is both financially and sort of, spiritually independent, she can care less.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll just do her thing and she'll be fine.
It'll be good. Oh my gosh. So Mrs. Hughes and Mr. Carson and the cooking scene, those are some tables turned.
Yeah, I think that should be general. I mean, obviously I think nowadays there's a lot less of his attitude going around among newlyweds. But I think, yes, if you are a guy marrying a woman and expecting her to do all the heavy lifting in the kitchen, you have to do it once.
Exactly.
You have to know what you're in for and what you're demanding of other people.
Yeah, I think that goes in any way in a relationship, if you have expectations on the other person, just at least understand so you can appreciate it.
Absolutely,
And I love the turn of everything because he's just falling asleep during the one time she complimented him. Like, oh, this is better than my mother's. And he's like, Oh, it's so good. And he never got in on the joke. That was so, I think that
Yes.
was the best, that he just never realized that
Absolutely.
they
Oh,
were,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that was great. I love the discussion that Mrs. Patmore has with Daisy about that love is not finite, so that people have enough to share with others. Like, calm down.
And it also kind of belays that there's a little bit more relationship going on between her and the farmer, because there's there's going to be, she's like, and just like I'm your mother, I think they're telling us a little bit more that, there's this relationship going on behind the scenes that maybe
Right.
we're not privy to. And I think, we might see ultimately some more coming out of that.
Well, I mean, I think it's been implied just by Daisy's reaction to
Yeah.
it that she's sensing that something is
Yeah.
happening, and so that's sort of been laid out for us. But yeah, so that's been nicely put out. I think I like how the illiteracy subplot has been kind of addressed.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel a little more for Thomas.
Yeah.
As much as I have to remind myself, yeah, you were the one who wanted to sell black market food during World War I. Like, yeah, still, for all of his awfulness, he's in a tough spot. And certainly I think the hardest part of all of this, beyond not being trusted and not being whatever, seeing Molesley move on and have another path to follow while he is stuck in service that is disappearing,
And yet, ultimately, that's still what Thomas wants. He wants this world of service for whatever reason. But you did see that with everyone congratulating Molesley over the glass of wine. You see that moment where he's like, "Is this really all there is? Is there more to what I want?" And I do hope we see some resolution to that.
I think they've been setting us up for something. They've spent so much time on Thomas's pain that I can't imagine they would just walk away from it without giving him some sort
he
of.
dies. Who knows?
True.
I mean, someone else needs to. We've only had one death this season so far.
No, you're not of anybody major, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's always a possibility, but I would hope not. I hope that he gets something better than that. And I feel like we're circling back to I'm blanking on her name. Cora's maid.
Oh, Mrs.
Miss.
It's a miss. Yeah, it's going to drive me nuts.
Anyway, but her storyline and the con artist in jail and stuff, and I like that actress a lot. I think she's terrific. They're really dragging out whatever resolution they're going to get to with her, so I hope they
I don't
cap
really,
that off
to be
soon.
very honest, I really don't care about her going to confront him. Like, I get she needs to do it to have this resolution, but it's a story that I felt they had resolved already. But
yeah, they've been kind of, it's been sort of like we'll get one scene every episode. Oh yeah, this is still a thing. Like, okay, we haven't resolved that yet. All right, great, fine,
Exactly.
we'll move on. Edith.
Edith, I know. Edith, look at you.
I'm loving a self-possessed Edith, and Dave pointed out. I tried to get Dave to come in today, and he had other stuff going on. But he goes, really, every great put-down line should be accompanied with a.
Yeah, no, it was so fantastic, and to see her at so much ease within his arms, at the end of the night after all the tragedy had happened, and just to have that moment, and then for when he makes the proposal, and she's like, I want to think about it. Like, she's not desperate.
No.
She's not so desperate to have the love of this man and the security of this. She's like, no, I'm going to think about it. We know ultimately she'll probably say yes because she's happy, but she's so in jive with her life that she doesn't need to just jump on this opportunity.
And she's made the first step in the marigold conversation, and I hope that she goes full Monty, and we see if he's still in.
Yeah.
And I hope that he is. But it's interesting to see that he's at least, that's not off the table.
He recognizes it's important to her, and therefore it's important to him.
And I think ultimately what's great about where this show has gotten with the female characters, whether or not we think it's true for 1925 Britain, is that, I think ultimately if none of them, like, if Mrs. Crawley doesn't marry Lord Merton, if Edith doesn't marry this guy, if Mary doesn't get married again, they have other things.
Exactly. Well, and I think what this show is doing is taking the overall general feel and what was going on in Britain and in the world at large, in America, in other countries of this progressive time frame, and condensing it into these characters. So while maybe not all these progressive moves were happening within one family, we're kind of getting a sense of what the world was like overall. And I applaud it for that, because it does give us an idea of what was happening. It was actually, it's funny, I was in Arizona last week talking with my uncle, and he's approaching on his 70s. And he was talking about his family, and they're British. And he was, well, one, I found out that his father was a Bugatti racer in the 20s and 30s. And we were talking about Downton Abbey because he obviously loves the show. And he was saying how his mother was very much like Violet, and how his family, though, at large was more like, sisters and cousins were more like the Crawley sisters or the Grantham sisters. So there is a lot of truth to that. And I had to grill him about that because I'm like, come on, tell me, I got to know more. And he's like, yeah.
And even Cora off screen is settling into her new role as the hospital administrator, and Daisy's pursuing other opportunities. Mrs. Patmore has, lurking guy.
Well, yeah.
Does she not have a license to run a hotel or something? Is that what that's about?
I don't know. Like suddenly we're gonna have this last minute plot twist in the 24th hour.
I'm thinking either that she's running an unlicensed hotel and he's gonna bust her, or he's a food critic.
Right?
I don't know.
Or maybe the way she got the money for all of this was that might be something.
There could be something hinky there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing to leave.
Old school paparazzi.
Yeah. What else on this episode? I'm trying to think. I wrote this down. There was a great, one of the Violet gets at least one good sick burn per episode, and it was no one is friendly all the time. The other thing about this episode, they're outdoors a lot in this one. And I noticed because every time this show goes outdoors, there's so much music. Like the score just whips up into a frenzy and gets either like wacky comedy time or, pastoral Glen or whatever. But it's they really goose it up for that. And it's I don't know. I noticed it, which is maybe not a good thing. Usually with a score, it's best if it's sort of invisible.
Do you think because of the budget, they do it because they can't really clear the scene to like get quiet from like all the background noise?
Just to cover up the helicopters.
I think that might be it because it's not like a full like scale film production.
Sure.
So I think that might be it.
Although, I mean, this had like, 6 or 8 vintage cars racing. I mean, that's like, I was watching this with a friend of mine who was first AD on the upcoming season of Banshee, and he was like, well, that was a busy 2 days.
Yeah.
Just watching all that stuff happening. It was, I'm sure, major. So.
I know, I would have liked to at least been an extra on that set right
there.
there.
Kidding, yeah. But, again, it's like they're in season 6 and it's a hit, so I'm sure whatever their season 1 budget is goosed way up at this point. Yeah. So we have one more regular episode in the Christmas special, and then we're done.
I know.
We're done with that.
Oh my God. So next, so I know you're watching. I'm
watching the Blu-ray now.
And now I'm watching the PBS airing, and the preview for next week when Edith calls Mary a bitch.
What?
I am so excited. I want to see what happens. Finally.
History will be made, and Ben will be back next week, so tune in.